Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Country with the weekly comic roundup. We're going to get started with this week's Spider-Man books and Avengers books. Excuse me. Kicking off with Spider-Man Miles Morales, number 16. So where we left off, it appears that Miles, the vice principal of the school Miles goes to, is now aware that he is Spider-Man. And he's going to keep that secret. As well as afford Miles, from the looks of things, a degree of understanding about things like tardiness and whatnot. Also, Miles' uncle has got involved with Brooklyn crime boss Ultimatum, who is in fact Miles Morales, the original Earth 616 Miles Morales, while Spider-Man Miles Morales is the Miles Morales of Earth 1610. And it appears that Ultimatum has been going back and forth between the Ultimate Universe and the regular universe. So, I gotta say, this issue is actually split up in a very interesting manner of two different stories. First off, we have Day, which begins with Miles waking up his sister, apparently, and as Miles' parents are going for brunch, he's going to take his sister for a walk. He's got the diaper bag, he feeds her, changes her, and it turns out there's someone else that needs help, however, and so Miles, as he puts it, lets his sister in on the family secret that he's Spider-Man, but has to figure out how to go save people with Spider-Man with his baby sister. So he basically makes a web papoose and goes to rescue a photographer in the sewer. However, as he's doing this, a massive alligator appears. Miles manages to stop the alligator, rescue the photographer, who turns out is down in the sewer taking pictures for his Urban Pioneer Instagram. EMTs come down and see him, and so take care of him, and Miles heads home. And some of the webbing, however, is still on his sister's stuff. So, but she explains that it's a long story. However, Miles nods off. That's not all. We've also got Knight. Miles' uncle, the Prowler, is breaking into Hearst Pharmaceutical to steal a reagent, and he does so and gets away scot-free. And however, is contacted by Ultimatum, who says, "Hey, rather than giving it to my people, why don't you instead bring it to me in person?" And they talk a bit, with Ultimatum explaining that he has traveled to other universes. And he shows Prowler something. An old Prowler mask. Which of course gets Prowler on edge, because there's something familiar about it, but he can't quite place it. And he goes on, they talk about chess, and he says he feels he's only seeing part of the board. And he needs to get all the pieces together to figure what this out, which is why he needed Prowler to come to him personally. Because Prowler is from that other world. And he explains that he has the same energy signature. And ultimately explains that Prowler has the same energy signature as everything he's stolen from that other world. But what bothers him is that there's another person with that energy signature, aside from Prowler. SpiderMan. And it turns out that the chessboard is set up as a trap, and it emits a knockout gas, which knocks out Prowler. And basically, Spider-Man's gonna be brought to. Spider-Man's coming, and well, they're going to have a little chat about where Miles came from. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Black Cat number 10. Where we left off with Black Cat, Felicia had gone to Madripoor to steal a painting from a major underworld figure in Madripoor, the mysterious Mr. Patch, Wolverine. And that was also how Black Cat realized that Patch is Wolverine. Because even though they've worked together plenty of times in the past, somehow she never learned that he was also Madripoor crime figure Patch. Well, it turns out that Cade Kilgore, who has formerly the Hellfire Club, now of Hamas Verendi, has, looted all of Wolverine's stuff that he keeps in a secret room underneath the Princess Bar, including the painting. And so Logan and Black Cat went to talk to Kilgore, try to get it back. It didn't go all that well, and they stole a pair of high-end, bleeding-edge tech interface glasses from him. And then left promptly. So the issue begins with Kilgore having put a price on Black Cat and Wolverine's heads. Movers are taking all the stuff and moving it about, though the movers are oddly familiar. While Black Cat's narration is about plans. And how the life of a super crook is all plans. Maps, models, blueprints, paper cups of sour coffee and room temperature whiskey. Every detail accounted for, airtight like clockwork. However, then there's the other side, the back of the napkin plans, the seat of the pants kind. Winging a prayer, make it up as you go along. You know, magic. Going on to basically say, those are the kinds she's best at. So, Wolverine and Black Cat are swinging away from Kilgore's casino, but her line breaks because, well, Wolverine's, heavy. Kind of explaining, his bones are made of metal. And so they're trying to figure out what to do with the glasses, but they both figure it's going to burn. They each figure it'll burn their eyes out. However, Black Cat is going to mention to Wolverine, hey, your eyes will grow back. But Kilgore's trying to communicate with them through the glasses, and so they actually do ask. Black Cat does ask, would the glasses have burned their eyes out? And he says, yes, they would have. And so Black Cat says, we'll make a trade. The glasses for Logan's stuff. But it's also explained they've put a very large price has been put on their heads. So 27 minutes later in Lowtown, Black Cat and Wolverine are cutting their way through, well, yeah, Frankenstein's. They end up in the Bloodsport arena, where that becomes the new main event of the night, with Black Cat actually joining in. We then get a flashback to her training with Black Fox. Basically, misdirection, sleight of hand type of stuff. The idea being to basically have some, keep doing one thing with one hand, so you're not paying attention to the other one while it's doing something very different. And it turns out that he's taking the girl's watches with that. Back to the present, however, the two of them end up boarding a boat after carving their way through the Bloodsport arena. But the Brothers Grimm show up on flying platforms and try and kidnap Logan. But someone shoots one of them. That someone turns out to be none other than Deadpool. And initially, Logan's quite happy that Deadpool just saved him until, Deadpool proceeds to, shoot him a few times in the gut. The idea being, hey, he collects the bounty. Whatever it is Kilgore's planning to do to Logan will find a way out of eventually. However, Deadpool's plan is foiled when Black Cat impales him with the boat they were on. And so they decide to, put the glasses on Logan, or on Deadpool. And they do begin burning his eyes. And the two of them also get off the boat while this is going on. So Kilgore orders a missile fired at where the glasses are. And Logan and Felicia show up at the airfield. And it turns out that the movers were, in fact, Felicia's crew. So, Logan's got his stuff back. And, hey, for helping get it back, yeah, Black Cat gets the painting. And that Logan drives off with his stuff, while Black Cat and her crew Black Cat explains to her crew that they're heading back home very quickly. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to SpiderMan Noir #1. Now, for those who've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse will recall SpiderMan Noir from it. Basically, a very, crime noir-esque version of Spider-Man, voiced by Nicolas Cage. And seriously, I want a Spider-Man Noir animated movie with Nicolas Cage reprising the friggin' role, because he was great. Well, Spider-Man Noir has a degree of history. Years ago, Marvel decided, hey, we'll do a whole bunch of noir versions of popular characters, including Spider-Man Noir. And it was fairly successful. They ran with the idea of doing noir versions of various characters for a while, and then they stopped. And then the initial Spider-Verse story came along, and they're like, oh yeah, hey, we got that SpiderMan Noir. We'll bring him into this. And so he was involved there. So made it through, went back to his homeworld, and then Spider-Geddon happened. He popped up again. Only this time, he was seemingly killed. So how is it that he has his own miniseries? So we begin in Midtown Manhattan at the office of Peter Parker, Private Eye. It's his lunch hour. There's a bank robbery, so he suits up, goes down to stop things with his 45s and his webs. Stops the bad guys, makes sure that they don't hit anyone, and talks some with reporter J. Jonah Jameson. Apparently, it turns out that the Black Cat, a speakeasy belonging to Felicia Hardy, got hit the night before. So Peter and Jameson go to check it out. Jameson's giving some money to the police department, so he gets he can bring Parker in for a few minutes, and they discover one of the bodies is a young lady named Holly Babson. She was a waitress, had a nose for trouble. She was also a police informant. In her hand, however, was a brooch. And so Peter returns home. Shows Mary Jane what he found, and also talks to Aunt May a bit. And by this point, this version of Aunt May now does know that Peter is Spider-Man. Previously, up to Spider-Geddon, she did not, and in fact, in an issue of Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, set after Spider-Geddon, Gwen traveled from Earth to Earth, basically to pass, tell the family and friends of those who were close to the close family or friends of each of the spider totems the totemic spider people who died during Spider-Geddon, that they died. We're sorry, went out of heroes, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And apparently May did not take this well and called Gwen a filthy liar. There's no way her Peter would be that nasty Spider-Man. So later on that night, Peter goes to a library to see what he can find about that brooch. Turns out it's not a beetle, but rather a cicada. However, then the lights go out. Bookshelves tumble down, and his book has been stolen. The book he actually found some answers in has been stolen. Well, it turns out there's at the Met there's an exhibit of Babylonian works. So Peter goes to check it out, looking for the curator, but he does manage to find himself a Byzantist who looks just like Holly. As it turns out, she's Holly's sister. Also, Holly's real name is Helga Bergman, and her sister is Dr. Huma Bergman. And sadly, Peter has to be the one to break it to her that, yeah, your sister's dead. They talk over coffee, and he turns out also the curator hasn't for the Dr. Hellstrom hasn't shown up yet. But Dr. Hellstrom never knew Helga. But Huma offers Peter the case. However, he says, "Hey, the bottom of a case like these is rock bottom. Chances are the doc doesn't want to be found." But she at least tells him, tomorrow, I'm heading on a cargo ship across the Atlantic tomorrow, so, you're welcome to join. So he makes his way home. Peter and MJ end up having to fight off some bad guys, however, and it looks like they're still trying. These bad guys are trying to figure out. I'm presuming they're after the brooch, and so Peter talks with May and MJ and tells them what's happened, and decides he's actually going to take up the case. And so the next morning, he meets up with Dr. Bergman, and they head across make their way across the Atlantic. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to Savage Avengers, number 11. Where we left off, Doctors Doom and Strange had managed to rescue Dr. Voodoo. However, Dr. Voodoo's now was stuck in the Dr. Voodoo is basically working and coming back again. Doctors also had aid from Conan the Barbarian. However, when their battle with Kulan Gath was seemingly over, Doom and Strange promptly sent Conan back where they found him, the jungles of South America. So we begin at the Sanctum Sanctorum, and with Strange recovering from his wounds from the battle, and Elektra is there. And Strange explains that he's made Elektra immune to the Sanctum's defenses, to his defenses. And that, Kulan Gath has tried to kill him twice so far, and that Gath must not gain Strange's power. And so he says that if he becomes enthralled by Gath, he's trusting Elektra to, take care of him. Apparently the two are also not dating, and she explains that, we're moving a bit fast. She's not contemplating murder the morning after the first date. Though he explains that he does have that effect on women. Now, it turns out that Gath claimed to have the third eye of Agamotto, which he actually did not, because, the third eye of Agamotto is actually the eye of Agamotto that, Strange has. He explained that he had Agamotto had three eyes. The one he possesses represents prescience. It is literally his third eye. His first eye is the possession of Asgardian dragon and manifest power. The second is lost to time. So somehow Kulan Gath tried to sell Doctor Strange something that he already had. And so Strange uses some dried blood of Kulan Gath to basically learn about Goth's past. We see back during the Hyborian Age, Stygia, where Kulan Gath was a servant to a sorcerer named Kulan Gath. However, he realized that his relationship with the sorcerer would end in the boy's murder. So he struck first and killed his master, and the sorcerer's hogs hid the deed. And he began learning what magics he could, make his way through, try and find the sorcerer supreme of the era, Mekri Ra, which he finds him and proclaims that he shall be Mekri's student. Mekri Ra is like, nah, it's basically, be gone. So he does what he can to learn other spells, and we see a point where it's a book he cannot unlock. He's told that if you can unlock the text, then you're not meant to possess that knowledge. And so he cannibalizes the person that told him that, and this becomes a common thing. By doing this, he then is able to learn what they know. He worships Shumagorath while also coveting Gorath's power. And he has been killed by Conan. Temporarily speaking. He continues to make his way through to the point of Mekri Ra's death at the hands of Kulan Gath. And so the astral form of Strange watches and actually communicates with the dying moments or with Mekri Ra's dying moments. Until Goth kills him and, presumably eats the rest of him. And so, now having an idea, realizing that, Conan was probably the answer. And Elektra says that thankfully she's got Conan's number. And Dr. Strange says it's time to assemble our friends as they're going to war. That's where the issue ends. Next up we've got Iron Man 2020 number 3. So, where we left off, the robot revolution had infiltrated Banetronics in an attempt to stop the subservience OS from being broadcast to AIs the world over. However, their backup plan for Machine Man to fire a missile at the satellite dish and just take it out was foiled by Jocasta, the AI that Machine Man loves flying by, who has since been reprogrammed. Also, they renumbered the floors from after all the floors of the building after 12. Many buildings don't have a 13th floor. The idea being that it's unlucky. And so, by removing that, that is how the robot revolution has been able to get around, is by having a secret base that could be that they can get access anywhere. Any tall building with more than 13 floors, they could access it that way. However, by renumbering to include 13, it can't manifest where there's already a 13. So Awesome Andy saves Herbie, and it turns out that Machine Smith has uploaded himself into Awesome Andy's tablet. And they basically call all AIs to join them at Banetronics. Meanwhile, Mark 1 is fighting Arno Stark, and it's not going well. Also, the contingency plan that Mark 1 has, Arno figured it out and stopped it. And so he kidnaps So he takes Mark 1 prisoner. Then Sunset Bane explains to Dr. Bang that she knows that he has been getting intelligence to the robot revolution, but through Bethany Cave. It's all on his Stark smartphone, and so he gets fired. In Bane Tower, Tony wakes up in Arno Stark's living quarters with the clones of his parents. No, their parents. And he explains that the engrams of Howard and Maria Stark were utilized for the Eastscape's Avatar's motherboard and arsenal. He seemingly deleted them. However, they weren't as deleted as he thought because, well, Arno was able to put them in new bodies that he had grown. He then explains his grand plan. And why it is he's trying to take control of all AIs. And the coming extinction entity. And Mark 1 explains that, I've heard all this before. Recorder 451, the delusional alien robot, he told all of it to me. Mistook Tony for Arno. Maria explains that, oh, no, it's actually quite real, and we've known it's real since before Tony was born. And Howard agreed, says, hey, defeating this thing is Arno's destiny. However, Mark 1's still not buying it, and says that he doesn't think Arno's crazy. He thinks he's fucking nuts. Meanwhile, however, all the AIs are now attacking Bane Tower, which then Mark 1 uses that as a way to escape and also to destroy go after the satellite dish. Herbie discovers that Machine Man has left, picks up the rocket launcher that he's left behind, and uses it. But he misses the satellite dish, but he does manage to hit Arno Stark. And seemingly, then Mark 1 is blasted from the satellite dish and seemingly falls to the ground, looking to be at least maybe not dead, but not doing all that well. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Rescue 2020. So, Rescue. Rescue was basically an Iron Man armor that was made by Tony Stark for Pepper Potts. However, it's more of it. It's not designed as a combat armor. It does have some tech on it that can be used as weaponry, but only to a small degree. And in fact, most of what it can do is more, rescue oriented. So, we get Pepper Potts' backstory, and see her getting hired. Basically, all of the things she had to deal with, or a lot of the things she had to deal with working for Tony Stark. And so, now she runs Stark Resilient, and Bethany Cave shows her, okay, so the plan is to reclone Tony using DNA from his birth parents, which we now have to get our hands on. The idea being, hey, grab the rescue armor. Go do that. The rescue armor has an operating system called Hosted Analog Program Pre-Y2K, or HAPPY. It's designed after Happy Hogan. And so she flies off to London, where Tony's birth mother, Amanda Armstrong, former SHIELD operative, now a musician under the name of Amanda Strong, lives. Well, it turns out, though, she's not home. Well, her studio's up the road a bit, so Rescue goes to check it out. Well, the sentient recording equipment wants to make its own music, and has the various a band, basically Amanda and a band held hostage. And so we'll talk a bit, but Rescue uses a magnetic restraint field to stop the machines from preventing people from leaving, and then they have to talk with Amanda. She basically just needs a lock of her hair to use to clone Tony. However, Bethany gets her and Pepper says, "Hey, this is not going to go that." She's not wanting to give us what we need. But it's like, just do it. However, the lights shut down, and her smart home has been hacked apparently by Hydra. And it says that Tony Stark is dead, and they intend to keep it that way. The two are soon attacked by some drones, which Rescue and Amanda are able to stop. And then they head to the studio, because the drones are going there as well. But the band, as well as the sentient recording items, have joined forces and helped take down the drones. However, Amanda's been injured. Paramedics are called, and however, Amanda says, "You know what? Hey, here, have a lock of my hair. And if anything, just don't. I believe in Pepper Potts." And that is where the issue ends. And that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.